Hikaru is an ordinary high school student with severe social anxiety and no idea what he wants to do with his life. One morning, he woke up early, got out of bed, and headed to the station to catch the first train to school. Last night, while riding his bike, he saw a mysterious orange light in the sky and heard a voice calling to him. As he scrolled by, he noticed a pregnant woman standing in front of him, and he felt like it was the right thing to do. So he got up. Hikaru's friends started talking about their plans for the future, but Hikaru was so preoccupied with last night that he actually hadn't been listening the whole time. The friends asked Hikaru about it, and Hikaru explained what he remembered. He heard voices late last night, but when he opened the window to see what was going on, he saw that the area around Kagami building was very bright, so he cycled up the hill to get a better look. But what tube was about to be stolen by a girl with a robotic arm on her waist. She tried to escape from the rooftop, but as soon as she got to the roof, she was immediately surrounded by the building's private police, who, seeing that she was a Mecha-Ude user, immediately took out their weapons and tried to neutralize her. But because of her mechanical arm, they could not hit her easily. After the police officers failed to stop her, the guards took out their special weapons and used them to freeze her in place. The boss then appeared and took out his own mechanical creature, which was being experimented on to make it a more efficient tool. The girl's mechanical arm resents what the man has done to one of their own, but the man shows no remorse and takes the girl does not allow this to happen, and with the help of the arms, sinus, and dex, she escapes from the trap and attacks the weapons developer. In the course of the battle, the girl succeeds into the air. At that time, Hikaru witnesses an explosion from the building and even takes a video of it. However, for some reason, no anomalies were recorded. He also remembers witnessing a glowing tube land near the building. His friends thought he must have had a really strange dream. Shyly replied that the voices were calling for help. His friends joked that it might be a ghost, but Ikura knew what he heard and, coincidentally, heard the same voice again. So he started running after it even though he was supposed to be in class. He eventually approached Kagami's building. He did not know what he was looking for, but as he was about to enter the roped-off area, a police officer stopped him and told him he was not allowed to return here. When Hikaru asks why, the officer explains that Kagami made a large donation to the police station in exchange for a few officers helping him out with a small situation. At that moment, however, he receives a radio message that Kagami needs to send all the officers, and the tube did indeed begin to talk. The tube soared into the sky and landed on Hikaru's back. By the time Hikaru opened his eyes, a giant arm had sprouted from his back, and the arm was relieved, grateful to be free of the tube. The arm tries to tell Hikaru his name, but must belong to the Kagami group, and not wanting to get into trouble, he starts to take off his jacket to return it, but the drone activates. The drone, not arm, is after, but arm tells him that there is no time to relax, as more drones are on their way. Meanwhile, at Kagami's headquarters, the president is informed that the drone has found the missing trigger arm. He is really just a kid they found by chance. He does not care what happens to the kid. At that time, Hikaru and Arm had eluded the drone's detection. Hikaru was thankful to be safe, but demanded an explanation as to what the arm was and why he was being chased because of the arm. Unfit does not remember anything, but what the arm does know is that Hikaru is a kind man who helped him. Normally, the arm would not be able to move at all without the arbitrium. But with Hikaru, the joints are as smooth as butter. Hikaru congratulates him on his arm's freedom, but decides to leave. His arm should be fine since it can move on its own, but the arm begs him not to go and tries to warn him that it is dangerous out there. Since the arm is putting us in danger, the best way to ensure our personal safety is to keep our distance from the arm. However, he noticed that the further away the arm went, the less sound it made, and when he turned around, the arm had almost completely lost its power, and it goes really far, meaning that for better or worse, it cannot get out of the arm. Eventually, the drone catches up to them, but this time the arm says it will take care of itself, grabs the floor, and starts dragging Haruka around and away from the drone. Suddenly, he is informed that he is not the only one who is after the trigger arm. Meanwhile, Aki has just arrived in the area, but her informant tells her she is going in the wrong direction. He tells her to go south, but she does not know which way is south. She needs to go to the other side of the building, but it would take too long to go back, so she finds a small alley and intends to go through there instead. On the other side of the wall, Hikaru was running out of strength from being chased for so long. Running with his arms was certainly faster, but it had drained Hikaru's strength considerably, and he could not continue much longer. Suddenly, he was grabbed by Aki, but before Dex can properly explain to her and intends to make her pay, and as the two are distracted by their argument, Hikaru notices an alley behind them and sends her running. Aki notices him fleeing in a shimmy, but she is too wide to pursue him in her Mecha-Ude, so she ends up taking on the weapons developer on this side of the wall. On the other side, and tells him to stop, hesitates to abandon him because he knows that Alma cannot move without him. Aki defeats the weapons developer and catches up with the two, as if he will release Hikaru, but Hikaru says he is not going anywhere. He chooses to stay by Alma's side, though he may regret it. But as Alma transforms in mid-air, the wind blows out of her lungs and she gasps on the ground. Hikaru and Alma took the opportunity to flee, and after a few hours, when it was safe to do so, they came out of hiding and escaped. Meanwhile, Aki returns to the base and reports that they failed to capture Alma. However, even if he escapes now, there is no doubt that the group on the kick will soon come after Alma. The next day, Hikaru decides to take Alma to school with him as he has nowhere to leave her. However, when he arrives at class, he learns that Aki is transferred to a new school. Outside, we see Haruka being watched by two people. A girl named Tose feels bad about what she has to do with Haruka, but Tosi vows not to hold back under any circumstances. Haruka runs off to the restroom and can't believe Akai followed him all the way to school. Alma notes that at least she didn't attack him this time, but Haruka thinks it's only because they were. But Haruka prefers to report her to the police. Akai shocks them by appearing from a nearby stall and tells them that they'd better not go to the police. It turns out that the police are actually bribed by Kagami's group, who are after Haruka, and they'll just turn him in. Akai and her hands demand that Akai appears out of nowhere, causing Haruka to hide, and a girl named Shirayama distracts her. Shirayama welcomes Akai because she is a new student, but Haruka is worried for her life. He is afraid that Akai will be rude to the very kind Shirayama, but he is shocked when Akai just starts devouring Shirayama's snacks. They formally introduce themselves to each other, but Haruka can't believe Akai looks normal and wonders what's going on. Haruka still refuses to talk to her about Alma while he's at school, so he just ignores her while listening to music. Akai stops stuffing her face, remembering that she was just stalking our boy, and Shirayama comes up with a plan. Moments later, Shirayama hands Haruka a note from Akai. She wants to meet him in the art room in the old school building, and Shirayama drags him there. Haruka has nowhere to run, and he has to meet Akai. He scolds her for using Shirayama, but she says it was actually her idea. Akai tells him that she's a member of the Arms, and she's been assigned to watch over Alma and be his bodyguard. Alma is happy to hear that she will protect them, but Akai corrects him, explaining that she will only protect Alma. However, Alma has grown attached to him, so Haruka will just have to go with her. Alma and Haruka argue about what to do, but Alma says he would like to know more about himself. Haruka doesn't trust Akai, but he sympathizes with the talking appendage and decides to help him. First, immediately, and he has no choice. Haruka asks guard at the door and wonder if their mission has been found out. Inside, Akai's hands want to go in different directions to find Haruka, but Akai decides they will go straight down. After a few seconds, the ceiling above Haruka collapses and Akai catches him. It's clear that Haruka doesn't want to talk to her, so she wonders why he didn't just finish her off last time they ran into each other. The thought never even crossed Haruka's mind, and he realizes that they live in completely different worlds. Akai guesses that Alma didn't arise because of Haruka, but because of him. It doesn't make logical sense, but Alma is a special hand, so it's possible that something else is causing him to move. Alma refuses to believe it since he thinks Haruka helped him, but the other hands say that Haruka just took advantage of Alma losing his memories. Akai believes Haruka is up to no good and demands that they show her their connection. Falls down again. Akai decides that they aren't really connected and Haruka is even harming Alma. She decides to leave, but Akai tells her that they are waiting for. Luckily, Haruka attack, and Weiner makes room for Toast to finish him off. Fortunately, Alma manages to help Haruka dodge Tost's sniper shot, but she has no will coming from Weiner's mecha strike. At that moment, Weiner immobilizes him again, and Thos unleashes his most powerful shot yet, to protect Haruka. Akai's hands explain that there are shackles on the attacker's Mecha-Udes. Shackles are devices that render mechanoids unconscious. This practically makes them slaves, but Weiner notes that the tools don't need their own will. Akai protects Haruka from his attack, but she is now immobilized herself. She gathers her strength and tells Haruka to run away with Alma. She will deal with Weiner, but asks Haruka not to go outside because he might get shot. Haruka refuses to leave because she was clearly affected by the sonic blast, but she says they can't let their enemies get Alma. Haruka has no choice, so he runs away, realizing what it is, but it's too late. Haruka makes her way further into the building, but Alma wonders if it was really okay to leave Akai behind. Haruka explains that she told him to run for him, but Alma just can't leave her behind. Crazy Extreme makes an exit for Haruka to escape through and rushes to Akai's aid. Haruka struggles, contemplates him. Weiner is just messing around again since he's not reacting to her, so she heads inside. We see that Weiner has grabbed Akai and he tells her that he just put shackles on her hands. This means she will be able to control them like slaves, but she declares that she is not like him. Weiner brings his prize to those, and those says they have orders to bring Akai back alive. Those orders finds Haruka and Alma in the stairwell. Weiner uses his sonic blast, but it doesn't work because Haruka has her noise-canceling headphones on. Haruka up. In hindsight, we see that the building starts to collapse, and Weiner is shocked when Taz just leaves him behind. After the building falls to pieces, Akai's teammates arrive. At the building that Alma was kidnapped from, the guards are horrified to see that something else has escaped from there. This something is too dangerous and is known as an artificial Mecha-Ude called Ouroboros. Later, Haruka comes to his senses and is greeted by an organization that is who are willing. Ori, who came with him, is named Fist. Fist looks a lot like Alma and even calls him his little brother. Fist explains that they are not enemies and they just need Alma's help. Haruka is skeptical, but Alma immediately agrees to help. Haruka wishes he had thought it through first, but Alma can't stand by when his friends get in trouble. Haruka thinks this situation is a real pain, but heroically agrees to help. However,